In this lesson, you'll learn about the line tool, and you might be thinking, well, the line segment tool, what's the big deal? All you do is draw a line, right? Well, there are actually a couple other tools in here that can be pretty useful when you're designing, say, a logo for certain types of companies, and there's a couple shortcuts to know when you're using this tool as well. So go ahead and select the line segment tool. You see the shortcut right here. The keyboard shortcut is the backslash there. And then how this works is it's not like the pen tool where you just click and let go, then click and let go. You don't see this menu comes up, you just click and let go. You can create a custom line. So if you know, for example, the angle and how long it should be, you could go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you want to just click and drag. So you can click and drag the line segment out. And if you hold shift, it will constrain it to 45, 90 degree, 180 degree, 360 degree angles. If you're creating some kind of pattern or some kind of design and you wanted those straight lines, you could do that. Another shortcut to know is the Alt key on the PC or the Option key on the Mac. So if I hold that, instead of going from left to right or right to left, up and down, like normal, like so, if you hold Alt, it'll actually expand from the center. So if you want to draw a line from the center, just hold down Alt or Option. If you hold Control on the PC or Command on the Mac, it does toggle to a selection so you can click and drag and select things like that. Now, the line segment tool can be pretty useful, but go ahead and select the Arc tool. So if you click and hold onto the line segment tool on the Tools panel and go down to the Arc tool, I'm going to delete this right here, select it all with the Selection tool. So the Arc tool, if you just click and drag, that just creates this arc, but you see how it can be lopsided. So if you hold Shift, then it'll be perfectly even. So you can create an arc like this. It's wider than it is tall, or if you want equal width and height, you can hold Shift. So if I hold Shift again, you could create kind of a wave like that and a new one, or you could make it go back this way. So I'm holding Shift. Now if you hold down Alt, it actually goes from the center again. It goes like that. All right, so that's pretty neat. So if I hold Shift and go back to this beginning here, you'll notice we've got kind of a leaf here, but if I take the white selection tool here and select one of the anchor points, you'll see it's not connected, right? So a quick tip while we're covering these line tools is if I wanted to join these two paths here, just take the direct selection tool, click and drag around these two right here, and then go to Object, Path, and then Join, and there's the shortcut. It's Control J on the PC or Command J on the Mac. And now when I move that anchor point, you'll see it's just one. So if you're creating a logo with a leaf, this would be one of the ways to create that leaf. You notice down here though, they're not connected. That's because I didn't have those selected. So if I needed to connect those, I could select them both and it would join. So if I select those two, Object, Path, Join, notice it draws a line in between if they're not overlapping. I'll move that to the side, this leaf that we've created there. So click and hold on to the line segment tool again, and you'll see the spiral tool. So this is a little bit different. So the spiral tool, if you click and drag it out and press the up arrow on the keyboard, it adds more to the spiral. If you press the down arrow, you'll see it removes parts of the spiral. So you can add and subtract from the spiral. If you hold down Control, you'll see it kind of acts a little bit differently. So I'm actually bringing it out like that, and you can almost make kind of a branch to this leaf, or that's the spiral tool. So it's not just for creating spirals, you can create these kind of cool shapes. And if you hold Shift, it will constrain it to specific angles you can see there. But again, if you just press up and down on the keyboard, it will just customize how long that spiral is. So if you wanted some kind of shape like that, or if you wanted more, you could press up and down on the keyboard. Another thing to do is hold down Control on the PC or Command on the Mac, and you'll notice it does bring it out when you're creating a logo or even an illustration. That can be kind of useful. The rectangular grid tool, that's more if you were creating some kind of grid, a pattern, and also the polar grid tool, same kind of thing. If you hold Shift, it'll be a perfect circle. So that's the line segment tool. And the other related tools such as arc, spiral, rectangular grid, polar grid, these can be pretty useful. Just experiment with the controller command and keys when you're drawing them, and Shift, and they're a little bit more customizable when we use these keyboard shortcuts. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next lesson.